We spend our lives searching for a successful romance, but the very language we use often sets us up for failure. We treat the idea of a relationship as a fixed goal to be achieved. The philosopher Osho identified a linguistic trap here. The word relationship is a noun. Nouns are static and closed. When we seek a relationship, we are often looking for a safe, finished destination, a place where we can stop growing and simply be secure. This concept relies on the myth of the yin and yang split, the belief that we are broken halves wandering the earth, searching for a specific person who can finally click into place and make us whole. Treating human connection as a static noun reduces a living dynamic to an object, and in human psychology, a connection that stops moving and evolving begins to stagnate. That sudden rush of love at first sight feels like a deep recognition of another soul. In reality, we are rarely seeing the actual person standing in front of us. C.G. Jung explained this through the archetypes of the Anima and Animus, unconscious images of the ideal other carried within our minds. We project these internal images onto our partners, treating them as a blank canvas or a sphinx to hold our fantasies. We fall in love with the projection, not the human being. This projection creates an emotional minefield. When the partner fails to live up to the fantasy, our inner child hijacks our responses, reacting with disproportionate fear or anger. To survive the disappointment, we numb our real feelings and begin to isolate ourselves emotionally. Because the connection is built on a desire for static security, it traps both people in a loop of transactional manipulation. We demand they stay within the lines of our projection, rather than allowing them to be a real, changing person. Eventually, the real person emerges. Their actual traits and needs inevitably clash with our projected expectations, and the noun of the relationship begins to break down. This crisis is usually viewed as a failure. In reality, this psychological friction serves a specific function. It acts as a crucible, intended to burn away the illusions that keep us from actual connection. As the Sphinx shatters, it reveals the unconscious goal. Jung argued our minds orchestrate this conflict to force awareness. This breakdown forces us to integrate our unconscious personality. Instead of demanding a partner carry our emotional needs, we reclaim those pieces and find balance. The pain of a failing romance creates the harsh psychological conditions required for spiritual maturity. It ends the fantasy of the other, so the work of the self can begin. Resolving external conflict requires a radical shift inward. If we are no longer looking for a partner to complete our half, we must find a way to become whole on our own. This internal wholeness is what mystics like Joel S. Goldsmith and Joseph Murphy described as the kingdom of God within. Once you integrate your own psyche, you stop looking for a temple in the external world because you have become your own. Achieving this state requires systematically ending our dependencies. We have to stop relying on a partner for our self-esteem, our financial safety, or the validation of our own existence. Only an individual who is entirely self-sufficient can engage with another human being without trying to consume them. Wholeness is the only safe foundation for connection. To save a connection, we have to move from the dead noun of relationship to the active verb of relating. This is a living, dynamic process that never reaches a fixed end. Relating is only possible between two people who recognize they are already complete. They aren't leaning on each other, they are standing together. Releasing attachment to a partner is often confused with abandonment. As this movement shows, releasing attachment actually ends the dependency, allowing two people to move in tandem without restricting one another's freedom. In this model, love becomes an active practice. The goal shifts to helping the other person develop their own unique life plan, without any desire to control where that plan leads them. This is the conscious, daily choice to stand beside an equal. It is the rejection of codependency in favor of a shared journey. This process functions as a form of alchemy. It takes the base forces of psychological friction and converts them into spiritual light through the constant effort of mutual understanding. By merging spirit and matter in this way, we fulfill what ancient texts called the secret marriage of the soul, a union that doesn't require us to lose ourselves in another. When we treat a connection as a static noun, only the superficial outer peripheries of two people ever meet. They stay on the surface to keep the fantasy safe. True intimacy occurs when two independent whole centers finally meet. They don't merge into a single circle. They create a new dynamic space between them. Unconditional love reveals itself as the endless, active practice of two whole souls choosing to relate. It is not a destination to reach, but a way of moving through the world together.